entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
Look, the polls we had showed that it was a neck-and-neck race. Would have been down to the wire. But what happened was a number of my Democratic colleagues in the House and Senate thought that I was going to hurt them in the races. And I was concerned if I stayed in the race, that would be the topic. You'd be interviewing me about why did Nancy Pelosi say, why did someone... And I thought it would be a real distraction.
So I kept seeing that all day yesterday, and it reminded me that guy Joe Biden, that imbecile, he's still the president. I mean, my president is Donald Trump, and the Democrats, they've got Kamala. But this guy's still the president. So he woke up from a 2-week nap and spoke to somebody. I don't know. I think it was CBS. I think it's kind of funny, the great John Catsimatidis, who does not one but two huge shows on this station, Cats and Cosby, 5 p.m. every weekday afternoon, and that great Cats Round Table, 8 a.m. every Sunday morning. If I don't see Biden, John, like I did yesterday, sometimes I forget he's still the president. How about you?
He is still the president, and I interviewed the former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and the question is, who is really running the White House? And Bill O'Reilly has his opinions. Kevin McCarthy has his opinions. But from the back, I think that President Obama has a lot to say about this.
100%. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care what O'Reilly. I love O'Reilly. I love him to pieces. He's a lot smarter than me. And McCarthy, I don't care what anybody says. Shapiro was not the vice president choice because he's Jewish. I don't care what David Axelrod says. And Obama runs the White House.
That's true.
Yeah.
I agree with that, too. I think the fact that they were going to get a big backlash in Chicago because Josh Shapiro is Jewish, they knocked him out. I know Josh. Josh is a very decent guy. He's common sense, and someday he may go somewhere. But he's governor right now of Pennsylvania. But there's so many problems in the world, and like we said the other day on Friday's show and Sunday's show, the fact July was for the Republicans. We were 10 points up. August is for the Democrats. They're going to be 10 points up.
Yep.
And you know what the September is? Remember the song, See You in September?
I love that song.
That's when the American people sort themselves out.
Yep.
One of your guests, I forgot which one, said that they don't think he doesn't think they're going to debate. I think there's a good chance they don't debate.
You do think that?
I think there's a good chance they don't debate. Look, Kamala Harris, I've met her. I've had lunch with her. But I don't think she is capable of running the world. And the president of the United States runs the world. And what I've said to a lot of people over the weekend, I understand is that what I said to a lot of people over the weekend, let's say this. The free world depends on the United States of America to keep the free world free. Europe can't do it by themselves, Australia, Japan. And if we don't have a strong enough leader in Washington, guess what? We're going to have a problem.
Agreed.
And the only one capable of keeping the free world free is President Trump.
Agreed. And that guest you're talking about was on right before you, Joe Beningo, who said they may not debate. And I asked Joe the same question I'm going to ask you because he's an ardent Trump supporter. And that is the question, John, that I get asked the most these days. It's not about the Mets or the Giants. It's about Trump. And they say, listen, Sid, we know you're friends with Trump. By the way, John Catsimatidis is friends with Trump. We know you're friends with Trump. We know you love Trump. Are you nervous? And you just talked about it.
I think the one thing, if I whispered in his ear this afternoon, I would say to him, stop playing down Kamala Harris. Stop criticizing her. just tell people the comparison of the job you're going to do versus the job that she's only going to follow, if not worse, than President Biden. And foreign policy is terrible. The border policy is terrible. The fentanyl policy is terrible. Our university policy is terrible. And it's nothing about hate. It's nothing about IQ. It's nothing about stupidity. It's that the policy is wrong for the American people. And that's what it comes down to.
I want to ask you about the fire department. I actually became friendly. I don't know if you know this, John, with Dan Nigro because of you. Because Dan
Nigro is a very decent person.
Great guy. Yeah, so I met him. You may remember a couple of years ago, John, when you did your show live from the feast. You remember that? And we had Joe Piscopo there and me and you, and Nigro was there. And him and I become good friends now over the years. And I always liked Dan. I did not know Kavanaugh very well. I met her at the marathon last year with Caban. She was okay, but the rank and file hated her. Now, I have met Tucker. I had dinner a couple of months ago with Tucker and a few other friends, and he's a very, very smart, strong guy. You have any feeling on the new fire chief?
You're going to have him on today.
Who is?
Tucker.
No, tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think.
Okay. All right.
Do you know him? Do you know who he is, John?
I've met him, but I don't know him well. The person who knows everybody at the fire department is our rabbi, Rabbi Potashnik.
Yes.
He's the chief chaplain for the fire department, I believe.
He still is, yes. So I don't know if you heard my guest at 6:45 this morning. He's an incredibly brilliant economics guy. Brilliant, John. So he goes to my gym. So we're talking on Friday. He goes, he said, maybe you didn't hear it, but he goes, your boss is an amazing guy. I go, I know that. You think I know that? He goes, no, you don't understand. Now, this guy's working with billions and billions of dollars. He's been with Chase Bank, and now he's with a big financial agency in Brooklyn. But he said, I read his book, and he said, when you look back at John's life, now you can correct this or not, he said, he came from nothing. He came from Greece. He had nothing. He said his mom actually used to use his house as sort of like a bed and breakfast just to make extra money, just to make ends meet. That's a true story. He was raving about that.
As a matter of fact, I had lunch with Dino, who lived in our home 50 years ago or 60 years ago. Dino is now 88 years old.
Wow.
My father paid $48 a month rent. Dino paid $8 a week.
Oh, my God.
So figure that out.
Yeah. It's about 1/6, about 17%. That's unbelievable.
Well, my father made ends meet. I mean, I guess, look, we were very poor. My father never made more than $100 a week. He worked for Longchamp's Restaurants, Jan Mitchell, and on 42nd and Lex, and every time I drive by 42nd and Lex, I still have tears in my eyes. Oh. And I used to go to the Automat up the block from Longchamps on 42nd Street and wait for my dad sometimes to come out at lunchtime. But on weekends, my father spoke fluent Italian. And he would go to Astoria or Long Island City, work as a waiter, and make a few extra bucks to pay the bills.
Interesting. Yeah. How old were you, John, again, when your dad passed away?
I came to America 6 months old, and my dad passed away. How the heck I was? Let me see, about 40 years old, 42, 43.
Okay, yeah, and you guys are very close. I say that because I got Eric Trump coming up next, right after you, and of course he's very close with the president, Donald Trump. You know my relationship with my father, and I come to notice this, that the best people, my favorite people, are all people who were close with their fathers, John. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I remember what I told you. Put up a picture of him and talk to him every morning.
Which I do that. I took your advice, and I do that every single day, John. Well, thank you. Are you here? Are you in New York, or are you away today?
I am in New York today. Tonight, I'm going to Europe. I'll be back in a week.
Oh, my God. Is it a business or pleasure, or both?
I always find some kind of business to do.
Right.
I made a deal in the elevator the other day.
Hey, wait a second. Talking about deals, I was talking about this with Danielle yesterday. Did you buy anything in New York and Chelsea? I know you've got Coney Island, but did you get a building?
We're building a building in the corner of 24th Street and 8th Avenue, and it's 12 stories. 100 years ago, almost 100, It was a Red Apple Supermarkets, then it was a Chase Manhattan Bank for 20 years, then it was a Rite Aid for 10 years.
Yes.
And we're having a opening party, a topping off party where you hit the top. And we built that building in 12 weeks.
12 weeks. Now, I don't know if you know this, but when Danielle and I first we got married, moved into the city, our first apartment was on 21st and 8th. And there's a New York Sports Club over there.
I used to own that whole block.
Really?
Tony Orlando's dad and Tony Orlando grew up on 21st and 8th.
Oh, my God. He did tell me that. So is this building that you're building on 24th and 8th, that's going to be residential?
Residential. It's going to be for rental. And it's a great neighborhood. It
is. That's Chelsea, that part. We love living there, Danielle and I. Well, listen, I'll see you later on today, and we'll talk, and then we'll do this again next week from Europe, buddy. You were great as always. Thank you so much.
I will call in. I'm going to try to do the show, or my 5 o'clock show from Europe, because don't forget it, 5 o'clock, it's
11 o'clock.
Midnight there.
Yeah, so 11, right.
I have nothing to do at midnight.
Well, have a safe trip and have fun, and we'll do this. And by the way, congratulations too on the ratings. You demolished Sean Hannity again last week, so congratulations.
Only 4 times the amount. That's not counting that we're on the 970 besides.
I love it. John, keep it up, man. I love you. Thank you so much. It was great to have you on. All right, boss. That's my main man, John Catsimatidis. He's not lying. 4 times what Sean Hannity does. And Sean's a great guy. I love Sean. Love Sean. Believe me when I tell you, if you're a Republican and you love Trump, you should love Sean Hannity. But when it comes to the radio show, John Catsimatidis kicks his ass. And he should. John's got a better show.